Welcome back to SecretSpool's Feel Good Friday. I'm Tessa, and tonight's story is about how an unexpected medical emergency turned into a mother's greatest source of strength, hope, and purpose. Some stories begin with calm anticipation, but this one begins with a sudden shift. The kind that forces you to confront what truly matters. And yet, through fear and uncertainty, it reveals the quiet, extraordinary resilience of a woman who discovered that the thing she once believed she couldn't handle became the exact thing she was meant to do. 2 years ago, Larissa Gonzalez was 26 years old and working full-time as an ICU nurse in Texas. She knew the rhythm of hospital life better than she knew the rhythm of her own rest. She could interpret a monitor's beeping faster than she could form a grocery list. But even with all that experience, Larissa never expected her own pregnancy to land her in a hospital bed, especially not 7 months in. When she was suddenly admitted with complications, she didn't fully understand yet. It felt jarring and surreal to be the one lying down instead of the one providing reassurance. Being a patient was a role Larissa had never rehearsed for. She was used to being strong, decisive, and knowledgeable. But now she found herself listening to the same kinds of explanations she once delivered to others, nodding as nurses adjusted her equipment, waiting for news instead of giving it. She later said it felt like being on the opposite end of the stethoscope. And while her medical background helped her understand the logistics, it couldn't fully cushion the emotional uncertainty. She didn't like feeling helpless, but she tried to stay composed. As the days passed, Larissa craved a sense of normalcy. Her family wanted to delay her baby shower until she was home again, but she insisted they go ahead without her. So she watched the celebration through FaceTime from her hospital bed. She smiled at the decorations, the presents, and the excitement of loved ones gathering even though she couldn't be there. It wasn't what she imagined, but she felt surrounded by love anyway. That virtual celebration became a small anchor, proof that life outside the hospital still existed, and proof that she wasn't going through this alone. Then came April 18th, 2023. Larissa's medical team determined that it was no longer safe for her pregnancy to continue. Her baby needed to arrive, now. The emergency cesarean section unfolded quickly, a blur of bright lights and urgent voices as the team worked with precision. Even as an experienced ICU nurse, Larissa felt the kind of fear that only comes when you realize everything depends on this moment. And in the middle of that whirlwind, her son, Caleb, was born 8 weeks early. Tiny, fragile, fighting. Larissa didn't get to see him right away. While she was in recovery, her husband, Chris, became her eyes and hands. He took photo after photo, showed her videos, whispered updates, and tried to translate the whirlwind of information into something she could hold on to. Larissa had imagined immediate skin-to-skin contact, the warmth of her newborn resting on her chest, and the comforting certainty that he was safe. Instead, she stared at pixelated images of a baby she desperately wanted to touch, counting the hours until she would finally meet him in person. When Larissa finally entered the NICU and walked up to Caleb's isolette, she froze. Her son looked impossibly small, wearing only a diaper, tiny arms curled near his chest, little feet tucked beneath him. Lines ran gently from his belly button, helping his body function while he adjusted to life outside the womb. Larissa said it felt like an out-of-body experience. Pure relief at seeing him alive mixed with heartbreak that she couldn't hold him right away. She pressed her hands to the isolette, fighting back tears as she whispered hello to him for the very first time. The hardest moment came later, when Larissa was discharged, but Caleb wasn't. She walked out of the hospital feeling incomplete, like she was leaving behind a piece of her heart. The world outside seemed too normal compared to the sterile, humming quiet of the NICU. She sat in the car afterward, trying to steady her breathing, reminding herself that her son was safe and in skilled hands. But no amount of logic could soften the emotional ache of going home without her baby. Inside the NICU, though, Larissa found something she didn't expect: unwavering support. Nurses guided her gently, encouraging her to participate in Caleb's care. They showed her how to do skin-to-skin safely, how to adjust the tiny diapers, and how to read his cues. They reminded her over and over, "He's your baby. We want you to be involved." Their kindness created a soft landing during one of the most overwhelming periods of her life. They didn't just care for Caleb, they cared for her too. Her ICU background unexpectedly helped her cope. She understood medical urgency, the importance of quick reactions, and the meaning behind the monitor's rhythms. Instead of feeling intimidated by the medical environment, she found comfort in recognizing familiar procedures and terminology. While the emotional side of the experience was incredibly heavy, the practical side made her feel grounded. She wasn't lost in the chaos. She understood it, and that understanding gave her strength. Soon, Larissa and Chris established a routine. Every day, they visited the NICU for what Larissa fondly called the morning shift and the afternoon shift. They spent 4 or 5 hours a day by Caleb's side, reading to him, touching his tiny hands, celebrating his progress, and learning the language of premature infant care. Each small improvement, every stable feeding, every change in oxygen levels, every peaceful nap, felt monumental. The NICU became a second home, and the staff became part of their extended family. As Caleb grew stronger, the NICU nurses began gently planting a seed in Larissa's mind. They told her she had a natural calmness around the babies, a steady confidence under pressure, and a tenderness that shone through every time she interacted with her son. They encouraged her to consider switching specialties. "You'd be incredible here," they'd say. "You already have the heart for this." Larissa always laughed it off, reminding them and herself that she had once insisted she could never work with babies. But the idea lingered. When Caleb finally came home, healthy and stable, Larissa returned to her ICU job. But something felt different. Every morning, as she got off the elevator on the same floor where the NICU was located, she felt a tug in her chest. She wondered how the babies were doing. She missed the soft stillness of the NICU, the gentle teamwork, the sense of purpose that came with caring for the smallest, most vulnerable patients. She realized that the environment she once feared had become a place that felt strangely like home. Day after day, that tug grew stronger. Larissa found herself thinking about the NICU at random times, wondering about the families, remembering the support she received, and feeling a deep pull to give back. She thought about the nurses who had lifted her during her scariest moments. She thought about how many families walk into the NICU terrified and walk out transformed. Eventually, she stopped resisting the feeling and allowed herself to consider what she once believed was impossible: leaving the ICU behind. Larissa applied for a NICU nursing position and was accepted. On her first day, she walked into the unit with a mix of nervousness and deep gratitude. The neonatologist who delivered Caleb now became her colleague, and he joked that they had been connected since Caleb's first breath. Larissa quickly discovered that NICU nursing felt profoundly meaningful in a way she hadn't experienced before. Caring for premature babies wasn't just a job. It was an emotional calling, a continuation of her own journey. She soon found herself saying she could never return to adult ICU care. The NICU environment felt gentler, even when the stakes were high. She loved the stillness of those early morning hours, the soft cries, the delicate procedures, and the way the tiny babies wrapped their hands around her gloved fingers. She often joked that NICU babies were easier than adults because they just cry, they don't complain or get upset with you. But the truth ran deeper. She felt profoundly connected to the work. More importantly, Larissa knew she wanted to be the nurse she once needed, the one who offered reassurance, presence, and hope in moments when everything felt uncertain. She made it her mission to show families that they were never alone in their journey. Her empathy came from lived experience, and families felt that. She wasn't just caring for babies, she was caring for parents too. Parents standing exactly where she once stood, overwhelmed and terrified, but trying to stay strong. Now, 2 years into her NICU career, Larissa is attending graduate school to become a neonatal nurse practitioner while raising her energetic toddler who once fit in the palm of her hand. She says her priority is simple: to ensure that every family she meets feels supported through every uncertain moment. They're not alone, ever, in this journey, she tells them. And I'm Tessa. Thank you for listening to this Feel Good Friday story. If it warmed your heart, don't forget to like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe for more SecretSpool stories that uplift and inspire.